address this very important topic. I appreciate the healthy discussion over some of the misinformation that's come out sometimes with, political goals in the dispersion of it. Also appreciate you educating us just really on some of the real scientific challenges in addressing a situation like this. I wanted to see, Dr. Murray, if in the effort of giving good communication on this, if you can give us kind of backtracking, give us kind of an understanding of why are we dealing this? Where did this coronavirus come from? How is it unique? How is it spreading?
Oh, thank you very much. I'd be happy to do that. And I think we could probably share the answer to that question as well. In terms of what we know are that bats, primates, and rodents are the species that are most likely to carry these viruses that transmit to humans, and the coronas in particular. And our team has already discovered several other coronaviruses in China with 97 to 98% homology to this virus, meaning so they're very closely related. And we also developed these trees so you can determine how closely this virus is related to the other coronas. We found some in Myanmar that are not closely related and not likely to cause disease. So and we also have behaviorists looking at what are the risks associated with bats. In a lot of countries, bats provide a lot of protein, and people do eat bats. But if you think through it, the risk might not be the person in a restaurant eating a fully cooked bat. Perhaps the risk is the women in the back who are preparing the bat without the gloves and without the masks and along with children, and then take it home. So trying to understand the cultural norms and human behavior patterns that contribute to these sorts of things. A quick shout out to OSTP because we also have a pandemic preparedness forecasting science and technology panel that looks at these sorts of things. And collectively, this past year, we at Smithsonian hosted a two-day workshop looking at bringing together the soft sciences and the hard scientists, the modelers who look at human behavior, and also the hard scientists that look at what the virus does. So we believe that wildlife markets and the wildlife trade are a really huge risk in general. And the risks are different whether you're in Africa or Asia. Africa, animals tend to come to the market. The risk is more in bushmeat trade for the folks that are in the forest that are killing the animals, and the meat tends to come to the market already dead, whereas in Asia, it's often live animals that are at the market. So those are to answer some of your questions about the virus. We believe that it's a bat-related virus and that it came in close contact through the markets. We still have so much more to learn about this virus in particular, and with epidemiologists and our human health folks as well. And so there's still so much we don't know, but that's what we know so far. I'd like to yield to any of our MD colleagues to see if they have something to add.
Well, if I may, I only have 2 minutes left. Dr.
Sorry.
Hotez, if you can tell us what's some of the challenges in addressing these treatment and vaccine. Also, I'm just going to get all the questions out here. Based on your experience working with SARS and Ebola and Zika, what are some of the challenges you've seen governments face in the past? What are some of the best practices we've learned? And what's some of the things that we can use toward addressing this? And then if you can answer that, and if there's any of you want to jump in and finish the timeout.
Yeah, two points. So we need more vaccines, and trying to do this in the middle of a crisis is very difficult, right? I mean, we have an N of 1, the story with Ebola, maybe cholera vaccines in Yemen. So we want to start doing this now. And one of the other problems that I'm seeing is through NIAID and BARDA, we have an incredible mechanism for supporting vaccines. So clearly the U.S. is the global leader in this. We need some of the other countries to start pitching in and help supporting global health technologies. If you look at the funding, public funding globally, the U.S. is by far the number one, the U.K. maybe second, the European Union, and then the bottom falls out. So we see a lot of underachievement among the G20 countries. China's doing very little. Japan, not much, a little bit. Korea's starting now. I'm on a board called the Korean Right Fund with the Gates Foundation. Brazil needs to step up. All the BRICS countries need to step up. So we really need to put this on the agenda of a G20 summit to say, look, the U.S., has globally taken the lead on recognizing this is a huge problem through NIAID and BARDA. The other countries need to step up. This needs to be on the topic of a G20 summit. I have a book. I like to write books. So one of the books I wrote is called Blue Marble Health, which actually finds this quite interesting finding. Overwhelmingly, most of the world's emerging and poverty-related neglected diseases are not necessarily in the poorest, most devastated countries of Africa. It's the G20 countries. It's the poor living among the wealthy, including 12 million Americans that suffer from neglected tropical diseases. So we need the other G20 to show some leadership and work with State Department and others on this.
Thank you, Dr. Hotez. The gentleman from California, Mr. McNerney, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Well, I thank the chairman, and I thank the witnesses this morning. Very useful and informative. Dr. Sell, how can social science aid us in understanding how to stop misinformation during outbreaks?
So misinformation during outbreaks is a big problem, and I think it's a very complex problem. So social science can help us understand what the